Hey guys, it's Eric from Edrumcenter and Andy and Aubrey from Edrumcenter.
Hello.
We're here to talk about the EXS-3CY, ATV's newest kit. And when we got our ATV shipment in, this was because it's newest kit, we decided to go ahead and do the unboxing video for this one first. So, who wants to start? I think we've all played it. I set it up for the most part, but we've all had enough playing time on it. So
Yeah, I've spent about 3 hours this week just hitting around on it, and I like it so far. I do.
Really?
Yeah.
You sound like fall asleep over there.
Sorry.
We should have drank some coffee before we started this.
Yeah, sorry, I was napping.
I like the kit a lot because I've been playing on it since, I guess, whenever you set it up, that's when I've been playing on the most, just to get a feel for it and learn that module and the pads. It's kind of tight and compact, which is a good or a bad thing depending on your situation, but overall I think it's great. It's got great sounds and probably my favorite sounds, especially for the price point, like by far, of any kit.
Yeah, this is our second go around with this module, but the last time me and Andy had played on what it was 2019.
Yeah,
And
years ago.
We did all the kits playing video. It's one of our older videos from 2019. And first thing when we set this thing up, I was like, this thing sounds better than I remember. I don't know why.
It does.
Why that is, but yeah, it's surprisingly good quality sounds.
For sure.
Yeah. I noticed the toms ring a lot,
Yes.
and but in a really natural way.
Yeah.
And if you tap on them, you get the full tone, and then the more you bring it out, the more they give that kind of. It seems like it adds like attack in the sample. You know what I mean? Like it has a little bit more of that, natural attack, and if you just tap on it, it seems like it takes it away. So I thought that was kind of cool. Very natural sounding samples.
Triggers well too.
Yeah.
Everything's real tight.
I did notice on the kick drum, there's at least 2 different samples, especially on the ones that ring out, like your jazz kits or anything like that has a lot of resonance on the kick drum. If you bury the beater, if you hit kind of hard, it has a different tone, completely different sample, almost as if you're like boom, like that, and then if you just hit it and let the drum ring, it'll ring.
Yeah, I noticed that with
strange.
that one kit we downloaded. I don't remember what it's called, but it has that very like jazz timpani kind of sounding kick drum. I can't remember which kit it was, but I noticed it.
There's one on the New Orleans-y sounding kit. I can't remember what it's called, but it's very second liney.
Was that the NOLA kit?
I guess that would be it. And then they have a couple bop kits that have that too. And I think I tried it with the other kits too, and it might have a little bit of a variation, but I definitely noticed it on the more ringy, resonant kick drums, which I thought that was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The fact that you could bury the beater and it actually have a different sound, or a very buried the beater sound. Almost like it warps the tone a little bit, goes boom, kind of like that.
I don't remember that the sounds being as good as anything else in this price range. I think that kind of stood out to me.
Yeah, that and the cymbals.
Is it
price
under
range?
Is it under 2,000?
Yeah.
Wow.
This kit is $17.99 right now.
Yeah.
That's impressive. For what you get, I think the sounds are really good. I think it plays really good. There were a few things, and I guess we'll talk about that in a minute, that we had problems with at first, but kind of figured workarounds with it.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the downloading the extra kits when you first get it. As far as, since I'm the one who set it up, I might dive into that real quick. Setup was pretty easy. It actually took about an hour to unbox it and get it set up and playable. Maybe I might be a little quicker than most people. It's because I do it all the time. But actually, Andy's been doing most of the unboxing videos. You were on vacation this week though, so
Yes.
I figured I'd knock it out. So yeah, nothing really jumped out at me as far as setup goes.
I thought you said that the rack, you had to pull up the manual to figure out which part on something.
Yeah, when I do set up the rack, you'll see that I do actually open the manual. I don't open the manual a lot of times on setting these up, but I did want to set up the rack properly, because what typically happens if I do it wrong, I will do it wrong the first time. I'll have to go back and do it again. So didn't want to do that. Yeah, it's pretty easy. A to C to D, all the stuff was marked. Everything was marked pretty clearly. Shouldn't have any trouble setting it up. The only thing I do suggest people do, there's the XD3, is maybe I kept having to like go back and retighten some of the wing nuts of ones I'd miss. I'd set it up and think I was done, and I'd play on it, and a pad would just flop over because I hadn't tightened up that wing nut. Just make sure you tighten all your wing nuts.
That might be pretty universal with almost everything.
Yeah, that could be, I'm a little rusty on unboxing, or I don't know.
So one thing I noticed, speaking of the XD3, when I picked one up the other day, is the mount is actually already connected to the XD3.
True.
Which, not that that's a bad thing, it just caught me off guard because most modules, it's its own separate thing. Which I don't know any situation where you wouldn't want the mount anyways. So
You're going to need the mount.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems to be the same diameter post that most modules are using these days, so it'll fit into most any clamp. So the XD3 module is available by itself. We have them on our website. So I think if you're looking at an inexpensive module to start out with, or maybe a second module, I think that's one you should take a real close look at.
For sure.
For $399, it gives you 10, 11 inputs with good sounds.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Like,
definitely the best sounds for that price.
It's small. It's a small module, so if you have it as a second module, it'll fit.
Does the module have one of those connectors to where, like, you're not kind of like the TD50 or something like that, where you're like connecting like literally every drum? Is it one of the ones that plugs in?
It's a snake.
It's a multi-pin connector.
Yeah.
Like TD17, TD27, 85.
Okay.
Seems like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's going that way. It's a little cleaner in the back, I guess. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it and dislike it.
Mm-hmm.
I get it.
Yeah, totally.
One of the main downsides to people saying they don't like snakes is the lack of flexibility, like with different kinds of setups.
Indiana Jones would not have that.
Indiana Jones hates snakes.
Yeah, he hates it.
For sure. But yeah, this what else is to mention on the setup? One thing we did notice on the kick drum is you're going to want to put a kick patch on that.
Yeah, there's
immediately.
some trial and error on this one.
Well, the head itself is a mesh head, and if you use a felt beater, or if you don't have your beater perfectly lined up on a mesh head, it can wear through the head a lot quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I highly suggest getting a kick patch before you even start using this thing.
Well, you started using it with the PDP pedal, and it has a really flat surface, and it wasn't flat when you started playing on it.
Yeah, we were chopping at it a little bit.
Yeah, the kick drum itself, the post.
Did you didn't notice that though
Not
at first, right?
Yeah.
And you were like, wait a second, and then looked at it. And
Yeah, it was probably like 4 days afterwards when I finally was like, oh, hold on, this isn't.
So really make sure that you're flattening out and making sure your angle of the beater is lining up flat.
Yeah, especially if you have like one of those square beaters that has a sharp edge on it.
Yeah.
Like the PDP.
But now that you've got it all flush, it works fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we put a kick, the Remo, I think Kevlar.
Yeah, one of those
kick patches
one of those
on there.
double patches.
And you go ahead and tell them about the tip you found on the kick drum.
Oh yeah, like you were noticing that it was double triggering a lot. I mean, not really double triggering, but double bouncing because it's
Very bouncy.
Yeah. And he said he heard this from a few other people too. So I started messing around with the pedal and noticed that the beater was really high up. Like I guess the shaft of the beater was almost all the way out. So I lowered the strike zone more toward the middle of the beater, which actually shortened the beater height, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And that made it a lot more accurate, and it pretty much eliminated all the bouncing.
Yeah.
And then I took the angle of the beater and put it back a little bit to give it more of a natural feel, and now it just feels like a regular old bass
I
drum.
haven't noticed any problems since you.
But at first I was like, I could barely play it without it like kind of like bouncing. If I'm trying to hit one time, it would have all these like little sympathetic, like almost like if you're playing on a regular bass drum, but it's tightened, really tight, and you get that little extra bounce that you're not going to want. Yeah, just shorten the beater, just make it a little closer to the actual pedal.
Yeah.
Where is it? It's about right in the center of the drum now, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And it could just be that, I haven't actually taken the head off and looked at the inside of this drum before. It could be something that where they've got some muffling kind of right in the middle
yeah.
to help with that.
But I mean, really, it's just like it was just a little pedal adjustment and it changed everything.
Yeah.
So,
Mm-hmm.
FYI.
As far as setup goes, it was
Set up there now.
it was pretty straightforward. I don't think there's anything else to really point out. Like there's I didn't have trouble finding anything or.
It's pretty meat and potatoes kind of kit.
Yeah, it's pretty basic kit. It's module, drum cymbals, rack.
It's all good stuff though for
Yeah.
how basic it is, and it's got great cymbals with that ride cymbal.
Yeah.
The bell works perfect on it.
That's something I did want to talk about. So the cymbals on this are essentially the flagship ATV cymbals.
Mhm.
Only the hi-hat, instead of being 14 inches, is 12 inches. But it's the same material, same optical sensor, same feel. I think they feel really good to play on.
For sure.
I was telling you earlier. I think the pads or you're talking about the cymbals, but
Cymbals.
I was saying that the pads felt different than a Roland.
Different than a Roland, still mesh, but he was saying maybe a little.
Not stiffer.
Stiffer?
I guess. Yeah, maybe.
I could see that for sure.
I wouldn't say in a negative
like the
way.
actual tom pads themselves.
Yeah, I wouldn't say stiffer in a negative way. I would just say it didn't feel like I was playing a Roland kit. Like Roland has this kind of bouncy kind of feel, and this definitely had
Less
a little
bounce?
bit more. Yeah, it just has a less bounce. I not to.
Some people actually might really like that.
That's very like oversimplifying what I'm saying, but it's absolutely what you need to do because I'm rambling. So yeah, it's very just a little stiffer,
Yeah, I get that.
but
feel
not
for
in a
sure.
bad way. It's
No.
just different. It's different.
I really like the ride on it. It's a 14 inch. Well, yeah, let's go ahead and just cover the sizes on it. So it's got a 12-inch hi-hat, 12-inch crash. Actually, on this kit, it's two 12-inch crashes, which is basically the ADC-12. It's something you can buy by itself. And the ride is a 14-inch, the ADC-14. The drums are all 10-inch.
Yeah.
Snare, all three toms are 10-inch. I would love maybe a little bigger snare.
Yeah, it's like you and I were talking the other day that although they're all 10s, the snare still feels smaller.
It
for some
does.
weird reason.
Yeah. It's odd. I mean,
It's
it
almost
gets
like
the
an
job
optical
done.
illusion. I was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
that one's smaller, right? You could just flip those and you're like, oh, they're all the same size. It's like, no, they're not. And you took it off and shut, and I was like, oh.
I think it's the way it's mounted or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just, from where I was standing, it was like the snare looked very, like, way smaller than the tom, and then it's just not.
Mm-hmm.
That's something you could do. We've done this in the past for people where they've bought this kit or another like the EXS-5, and they immediately went ahead and bought the 13-inch snare, ATV, the ADS-13. It's 13 inches. It's a lot cooler looking of a drum, but it's just
Does it mount on a rack, or is it
No,
a
it's
snare
just
stand?
snare stand mounted.
Okay, and this is on a rack, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what you could do is buy like the ATV snare or maybe a Hawk or something, and then move that tom or the snare that comes with it over as an extra tom. That's something we do a lot on.
Which for the under
these kids.
$2,000 price range kit kind of thing, it's the biggest toms there is, right? Because
Yeah,
the Rollins are all 8 inches, so this one having 10 inches is.
it's definitely got the biggest cymbals and drums
Mhm.
just across the board.
And the one thing you were pointing out to me is the difference in the toms is they're all side mount, or not side mount, but outside
Yeah, they've got
trigger.
3 outside triggers in all their drums, so no hot spotting. and
Yeah, they're really really accurate triggering.
yeah, you don't miss anything.
No, you were talking about like mixing and matching, or maybe just getting like replacing it with the snare. But like, will Hawk stuff work with the ATV brain?
Yeah.
Will Roland stuff work with the ATV brain?
Well, everything but the digital stuff.
Okay, so you could use just like the regular old tom pads and
Yeah,
things.
and F note obviously
Okay,
will work as well, 'cause same wiring spec.
but as long as you're not using like their digital snare, the digital ride, the digital hi-hats,
Yeah.
you're good to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can mix and match pretty much Roland and ATV for the most part. And that's something else. On the module, we do like the module. It's got really good sounds, but one thing we did notice was, well, you say you talk about the hi-hat part of it.
Yeah, the hi-hat was a little bit hard to get used to for me, as far as I was trying to do a little bit more intricate hi-hat opening things, and I was having a lot of trouble getting it to work. I think going between
The faster open close
yeah,
foot stuff.
because I've mentioned before I'm an acoustic drummer first, and I was just doing some stuff that I always do, and it just wasn't triggering. I almost had to change my playing. Something I noted, and I was getting actually kind of frustrated with it, and a workaround that I found today was I actually opened the hi-hat more than I would on an acoustic kit, like where your foot goes up and down. Like I put more space between the bottom and the top, and that seemed to really help out for me. So just was there any kind of adjustments we had to do in going into the brain?
We messed with it some yesterday
Yeah.
to play around with it. But what we did is we took the hi-hat that comes with this kit, we took it over to a TD27, was
Yeah.
it? Yeah. Plugged it in.
It worked better that way.
It works a lot, that hi-hat works a lot better with a more advanced module. So I think what might be happening there is there just probably isn't a whole lot of samples recorded for the hi-hat like there would be with a higher end module.
Yeah.
Like I know for sure the 85 is a better experience with their hi-hat. It just didn't seem like the XD3 was quite as advanced.
Walk around now.
Right.
Oh wow, it's already come up on the playing part of it. We talked a lot more than I thought. So we're kind of wrapping up the video, and we haven't covered all the stuff we want to cover necessarily, but what I was trying to talk about in the module is like this will work with other modules. So if you're more an intermediate to advanced player, we've packaged these with Mimic Pro, TD27, TD17, even TD50. I think would work fine. So we're pretty much wrapping up to coming towards the end of the video. In conclusion, this is a great kit for this price at $17.99. It's got some of the best sounds, some of the best cymbals and drums currently made, and I highly recommend looking at it if you're just getting started out playing drums, or if you're kind of wanting to move up from one of the more basic kits. I mean, you guys agree?
Yes.
Yeah, it's best sounds and best ride cymbal for the price range by far, in my opinion.
And you have upgrade paths too. So if you want to get this and then upgrade later, you could totally take it to the next level. All the triggers and cymbals are great. Hey, one more thing I'm going to mention. Make sure when you get this kit to download the extra kits that you can get from ATV for free off the ATV Sound Store. You just have to register for an account, and you get the free kits. And you also get access to the EXS kit creation tool, which allows you to use all of the sounds to create your own custom kits, which is pretty cool. And that's all free. You can do that online. Other than that, thanks for watching this video. We have these kits in stock. They're $17.99 shipped. And we can get those right out. So if you want to get the kit, let us know, or just place the order online. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more of these videos. Hit the like button. Buy all your E-drums from Edrumcenter. Subscribe. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.